Welcome on the bold topics and I am Anandamayi. It is generally assumed that B.R. Ambedkar neither defined social justice the way Rawls or Miller did not apply it in Indian context. However, it is political philosophy and social doctrine invoke justice in myriad contexts. However, this political philosophy and social doctrine invoke justice in myriad contexts, sometimes in direct and specific illustration of justice and equality and often in his worldview and political action. The same is reflected in the preamble to the Indian Constitution, where justice is invoked in terms of social, economic and political, which is comprehensive and unambiguous. At the time of adoption of Indian Constitution, in his last speech in Constituent Assembly debate, Ambedkar cautioned that political democracy alone is not sufficient for India. India needs to be transformed into social democracy in order for it to survive as a nation. He opines that political democracy should comprise of social democracy as well. For him, social democracy means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality and fraternity as the principles of life. He further adds, the principles of liberty, equality and fraternity are not to be treated as separate items in a trinity. They form a union of trinity in the sense that to divorce one from the others is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. In this understanding, liberty cannot be divorced from equality, equality cannot be divorced from liberty, nor can liberty and equality be divorced from fraternity. Without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over the many. Equality without liberty would kill individual initiative. Without fraternity, liberty, equality could not become a natural course of things. The principle of justice as outlined by Professor Burton, whom Ambedkar's quotes in relation to Hinduism is more comprehensive. He argued justice establishes a moral order. It evokes equality and proportion of compensation, and equity signifies equality. It is also applicable to rules and regulations in the society wherein right and rightness are concerned with equality in value. He exemplifies this with the principles of equality. It all men are equal, all men are all of the same essence, and the common essence entitle them to the same fundamental rights and to equal liberty. In his own words, in short, justice is simply another name for liberty, equality and fraternity. Ambedkar invokes the principles of social justice in various contexts. He primarily used it in the context of legal education, land ownership, political agency for depressed classes and religion. Legal education, in reference to legal profession and legal education, Ambedkar emphasizes on the need for social justice in legal education and need for inclusion and self-representation of marginalized group in legal profession. He opines the problem of overcrowding of the legal profession must be separated from the problems of legal education. It would be indefensible both from the standpoint of education and also from the standpoint of social justice to frame a scheme of legal education on a basis which would make legal profession the preserve of the few. Land ownership. In Constituent Assembly debates, in a discussion on Article 31B of Draft Constitution, pertaining to the question of abolishment of states and removal of intermediaries in zamindari system, Ambedkar observes, property in land particularly is not a fundamental right. Article 43 of the Irish Constitution Clause 2 states that the exercise of the right mentioned, that is the right on land, should social justice, political agency for depressed classes, emphasizing on the need for political awareness among the ex-untouchables to remove social injustice in Indian society. Ambedkar's rights to agency are generally relied upon by social idealists for producing social justice. On his vision, the other is religion. In this understanding, these two agencies are insufficient and ineffective to produce social justice in Indian societies, he explained. The rationalist who uphold the mission of reason believes that injustice could be eliminated by the increasing power of intelligence. In the medieval age, social injustice and superstition were intimately related to each other. It was natural for a rationalist to believe that the elimination of superstition must result in the abolition of injustice. The belief was encouraged by the result. Today, it has become the creed of the educationist, philosophers, psychologists, and social scientists who believe that universal education and the development of printing and press would result in an ideal society in which every individual would be so enlightened that there would be no place for social injustice. On the need to have self-representation in legislation-making process, Ambedkar argued that given the disadvantage of untouchability, the scheduled caste is separate electorate. In his evidence before Southron Committee, he points the right of representation and the right to hold office under the state are the two most important rights that make citizenship. But the untouchability of the untouchables puts these rights far beyond their reach. In order to scheduled castes exercise their political rights through self-representation, he firmly advocates that they should have political agency of their own, he argued. Therefore, instead of leaving the untouchables to the mercy of higher castes, the wiser policy would be given power to the untouchables themselves who are annexes, not like adults to usurp power, but only to assert their natural place in society. He further observes on the topic religion. The untouchables should bear in mind two things. Firstly, that it is fertile to accept the Hindu religion to perform the mission of bringing about social justice. Such a task may be performed by Islam, Christianity or Buddhism. The Hindu religion is itself the embodiment of inequity and injustice to the untouchables. For it to preach the gospel of justice, to go against its own being, to hope for this is to hope for a miracle. Secondly, assuming that this was a task which Hinduism was fitted to perform, it would be impossible for it to perform. Responding to Gandhi, Ambedkar observes, why does the Mahatma cling to the theory of everyone following his or her ancestor calling? He gives his reason. Nowhere, but there must be some reason, although he does not care to avoid it. Years ago, writing on caste versus class, in his Young India, he argued that caste system was better than class system on the ground that caste was the best possible adjustment of social stability. If that be the reason why the Mahatma clings to the theory of everyone following his or her ancestor carrying, then he is clinging to a false view of social life. Everybody wants social stability and some adjustment must be made in the relationship between individual and classes in order that stability may be had. But two things I am sure nobody wants. One thing nobody wants is static relationship, some things that is unalterable, something that is fixed for all times. Stability is wanted but not at the cost of change when change is imperative. Second thing nobody wants is mere adjustments. Adjustments is wanted but not at the sacrifice of social justice. Can it be said that the adjustments of social relationship on the basis of caste, that is on the basis of each to his hereditary calling, avoids these two evils? I am convinced that it does not far from being the best possible adjustments. I have no doubt that it is of the worst possible kind, inasmuch as it offends against both the canons of social adjustments, namely fluidity and equity. Further analysis the influence of Hindu religion in producing social inequality in Indian society. Ambedkar writes, the Hindu religion and social system is such that you cannot go forward to give its ideal from a reality because the ideal is bad. Nor can you attempt to elevate the real to the status of the ideal because the real, that is the existing state of affairs, is worse than worse could be. This is no exaggeration. Take the Hindu religion system or take the Hindu social system and examine it from the point of social unity and social justice. It is said that religion is good when it is fresh from the mint. But Hindu religion has been a bad coin to establish. The Hindu ideal of society is prescribed by Hindu religion has acted as a most demoralizing and degrading influence on Hindu society. It is Naitjasena in its form and essence. Long before Naitjasi was born, Manu and proclaimed the gospel which Naitjasi sought to preach. It is a religion which is not intent to establish liberty, equality and fraternity. It is a gospel which proclaims to the worships to the Suprema and Brahmin by the rest of the Hindu society. It propounds that the Superman and his class alone are born to live and to rule. Others are born to serve them and to nothing more. They have no life of their own to live and no right to develop their own personality. This has been the gospel of the Hindu religion.